In this LP360 video, let's go through another way of creating our surfaces in Civil3D from our data we have in LP360. So you may know or may have noticed that when you create a surface in Civil3D from files that are point files, landxmls, or DEMs, it creates a hard path connection to that in order for it to create surface. And it looks at that and then creates a snapshot, and that file becomes hard path. Now, if that's fine, if the drawing never moves, if you're not using a SharePoint site or something where the file path can change. But more often than not, you may need to use a topo in more than one project, excuse me, or you may need to move it from its original location to another. And when you do that, it breaks the connection. So let's go through a methodology that will prevent that hard pathing to those files and yield the same result. So over here in LP360, I have a surface that I've already created DEM for. I have already done my thinning and done all my work. And what we want to do is we're going to get the points out just like we usually do. So I'm going to come over here to our export and points, choose my source points. And I'm going to use my number 8 reserved. And instead of an LES, we're going to do an ASCII XYZ. Next, I'm not going to use any of this information for this demo, and I'm going to save it here in my drawings folder. Okay, and finish. So now we're going to have our points out just like we would normally for our other methodologies. Now that that's exported, let's take our break lines. I'm going to right click and I'm going to export them to a DXF format. And I'm going to put them in the same location. I'm going to call them BRK for break lines and save. Now that's done. I'm done in LP360 for now. So if I come over to Civil3D, we're going to make a surface and we're going to call it temp. We have to actually make two surfaces. So let's make us a temp. And same method as usual here, we're going to come down here to our point files and we're going to add that point file that we exported out of LP360. And OK. And I'll zoom extents, and here it is. Now that we've gotten this in here, we're going to select this, and I am going to change it to a style that allows me to see the points. So I have one called contours, triangles, and points. When I zoom in here, I can see the individual points. With that style on, I will select the surface again, and I'm going to extract the points from the surface. And hit OK. And now that I've done that, this surface, I don't need it anymore. I'm going to delete it. So now I have actual points. Now these are not Kogo points, they are Autodesk points, but I have points in here in the drawing. Now I can create a surface from these points, and they are tied to the drawing, so you no longer have to worry about that file connection. So let's make our real surface this time. I'll expand it, and I'll come down here to drawing objects, and I'll add points. Hit OK. I'll select all these and hit enter. And now I'm right back to where I was, except for now I'm not tied to that point file. I'll go ahead and freeze the points, get them off my screen. And now we want to bring in our break lines. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to open that break line file we exported. Here it is. It's a DXF, so I want to go ahead and I want to save it as a DWG. And this one's a little finicky. Even though I've saved it as a DWG, watch what happens when I close this and then I try to reopen that. I'll go on to get a recover error. Let it do its recovery. Won't see any change. I'll save it again. Now that that's done, now my computer won't let me insert that. I'm not sure if it's something to do with LP360 or not, but you need to save it as DWG, open it, recover it, save it, close it again. I'm going to attach it as an XREF. Everything's in backwards order. And now that I see they came in, I'm going to select it, the XREF. I'm going to right click and I'm going to bind it and insert it this way. And now it's in here. And if I explode it, I now have my 3D polylines. Little housekeeping, I'm going to move them to the correct layer. I'm going to move them to the feature layer. I'll just select all here, or select similar, excuse me, and lacquer them, and there they are. I want to select them again and add them to my surface as break lines. And now I have my complete surface. In Civil3D, a little bit of work I need to do around the edges for boundaries. But it's in here, I've got a surface, and it is not connected to another file, so I don't have to worry about that yellow shield of annoyance that pops up. That's it for this video. It's real quick. I know a zip to it, pretty straightforward, but I found that this works best, particularly when I'm transmitting files to clients or to other team members who may not have the same file location. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it in the comments. Feel free to subscribe and like the video if it was helpful. Thank you.